So good job there. Do we have any questions about the third dot? Questions?
We were just talking about how to actively ignore, and it's not as easy as it sounds, actively ignoring. Do you have some special guidance or?
So actively ignore, you're still fully present in the moment. You're ignoring the behavior, not the child. So that's the best kind of way I can think of. So we don't want to just ignore the child in the moment, but we're going to actively ignore whatever behavior it is that we don't like. So if you're playing with the balls nicely, Caroline, but you're whining about how you didn't get dessert at lunch. So, oh, cool, you're playing with those balls. I'm just going to ignore the fact that she's whining about no dessert at lunch. Oh, cool, how many do you have? 1, 2, 3. And she might be saying things like, but so-and-so got a cookie and I didn't get a cookie. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how you would actively ignore. So you're showing the child, I'm not ignoring you. You're still very important to me. But that behavior, I don't have time for that. And that behavior is a very much, that's a, closed lid behavior. They're not in a survival mode. She's not, feeling frantic about connection. She's trying to see if maybe you're going to get back in the cupboard and get another cookie out if she keeps it up. And so I'm just going to actively ignore that. And then as soon as she engages in conversation that's different from whining, I'm going to praise that. So she might say, hey, can you hand me that? Oh, you'd like me to hand this? Sure, I love how you used your manners. And you're going to immediately jump to the next thing. So you just act like it didn't happen.
And we also know that if we do give in and give her the cookie, we've lost the
10
battle.
more times you got to do it.
You just made a whole new roadmap, and they're going to travel it a few times to see if it's going to work like it did the last time.
Yeah, good question.
Thank you.
So we're on to our fourth and my favorite dot. We're talking about children's unique strengths. And for this section of our training, many of you did the VIA character survey beforehand. If you didn't, you have one in your packet, and we're going to do that now. What we'd like you to do is just take a minute at your tables and circle your top 5 character strengths, and share about it with your table mates. And we're going to use our strengths, to look at how we can also recognize our children's unique strengths. So we'll give you just a minute to do that. Circle your top 5, share about it at your table if you wish.
Online people can text it to us now.
Yes, and online people, please text us your top character strength. Chat in the chat box. Give us your top strength. All right, let's talk about what you have. Anyone want to share what their top strength is? We've got some of the online folks. Walt can tell us. Anybody want to share what their strengths are?
Do you want all 5?
Sure.
Honesty, kindness, fairness, hope, and humor.
Thank you. Who else? Yes.
Judgment, kindness, teamwork, humility, and spirituality.
Great. Thank you. Yes.
Fairness, honesty, social intelligence, and humor.
Great. Walt, what have you got from online?
Patience was one of their top strengths. Kindness was a top strength. Gratitude was a top strength. A couple online participants. Appreciation of beauty and excellence.
Great. Anyone else want to share? Okay. Thanks for those answers. It's amazing how when we think, that's a different way than we oftentimes think about ourselves. And I want to encourage us to do this same kind of thoughtful examination of our kids. We're going to watch a video now that helps us understand embracing children's unique strengths. This is from the perspective of children and families, but I encourage us that this applies to us in schools and caregiving just as well.
As early as age 5, children develop strong beliefs about themselves, other people, and the world. Wouldn't it be great if they recognized their own strengths around that time? Of the 24 character strengths, about 10 begin to emerge in early childhood, and each child shows them in their own unique way. Imagine your child is playing at the park. He may climb to the highest slide or be more cautious. He may be comfortable as part of a big group, or maybe he quietly watches. Maybe he's a little scientist, eagerly observing the ant colony. Each child brings his or her own unique strengths into every situation. Core character strengths are the early building blocks of every child's personality. These strengths are what your child will rely on throughout his or her life when faced with challenges and opportunities. Many times, though, parents are unaware of these strengths when they emerge in children. You might catch a glimpse of a small act of kindness, such as a pat on the back, a smile, or a hug, but this can be quick. On the other hand, a child's overuse of a strength such as humor may seem irritating. When we are aware of this, we can more easily spot and understand our children's emerging character strengths. As parents, how should we think about our role in our child's character strengths development? It's helpful to think about character strengths as flowers in a garden. The best nutrients for these seedlings of strengths are a parent's love and attention. Seeing your child's strengths, talking about them, and celebrating them will help them grow and last a lifetime.
Character strengths are a pretty amazing discovery in the field of psychology that can be very useful to parents. I think it can help parents understand their children in terms of how to help them unfold and become best versions of who they are and to fulfill their potential.
It can come about in many different ways. We observe our kids and we talk to our kids. And I think it's through both, through our observations and through what the dialogue is that we have with our kids, that we can begin to see their character strengths. But it's not just in seeing and observing the strengths, it's in how you relate it back to the child and how you have a dialogue with them, how you have a discussion with them.
All right. I think that's a great illustration of what we're emphasizing here. Dave, how do I get it off?
Hard, it's very, very.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So as we think about looking at our children with this new perspective of like, what is their unique strength and what are some of the strengths that we realize that they have that maybe isn't being fully recognized yet? This is one of the great tools that's available on the website. I like printing this out and posting it on the wall so that I can reframe how I view my children. So for instance, I might have a little guy who is kind of bossy, or I might formerly have thought of him as bossy, and I'm going to reframe that rather I think he's a really good director and he's a natural born leader. Or I might have a child who's real whiny, and instead I'm going to think, well, no, she's connected. You know, she's right there at my hip. She's connected to me. Or I might have a child who's just really goofy and funny. I'm going to reframe how I see that child as someone who's joyful and entertaining and fun to be around. So I encourage us to study our children carefully for some of their strengths and reframe how we're thinking about some of these positive strengths and really notice what those unique strengths are that they bring to the equation. So again, this is a great tool that you can use. And as you know, one of the tools that I love is the one-on-one list. So I've added to my one-on-one list with the unique strengths that I've noticed with each of my students. And this also helps my families realize some of the unique strengths that their children have. So with Brooke, not only do we color on Monday mornings, but I noticed that she really brings a lot of enthusiasm to coloring. And so zest is one of her great qualities. And so I say to her folks, you know, I love the way she's so enthusiastic about coloring with me on Monday mornings. And they realize also that they can appreciate that she's got that enthusiasm. Or with Jack, we play trains on Friday afternoons. He's really curious and he likes to tinker with those trains and blocks and find other ways to work with them. And I tell his folks, you know, he's really curious about the ways that he plays. And that helps them see their children in a whole new positive light. And finally, one thing that we can use as one of the tools based on looking at a positive slant on children, if I've got a child who's a real jokester and jokes a lot, what I might say in the parent-teacher conference is, you know, Ella is great. She tells a lot of great stories. She can always come up with a joke. And I'm trying to also help her learn when to listen and follow directions more. One of the tools that we can use in our parent-teacher conferences is we can have them do this kind of a idea where if parents are there for an activity, they have this simple paper plate, and one of the things that they do is they tell me all the wonderful things about their child, like that she's spiritual and determined, or he, and strong and athletic. And then on the other flip side, we realize some of the things that we need to work on. So, you know, she's affectionate or he's affectionate, he needs lots of reassurance. So it kind of gives them a view of both sides, the flip side of the strengths, and then some of the things that we need to work on to balance those strengths, in other words. And it leaves them with this great image, this great tangible product about their child. All right, questions on that? Anybody experience, any of your experiences in pointing out character strengths in your students or children? Can you think of something where you've pointed out to a family a strength that they weren't really thinking about? Not so much? Okay. All right. Now it's your turn to work on this last dot.
All right. So we're going to do this one a little different. To recap a little bit, the first thing we did was, somebody tell me, Safety, ensured the supportive environment. Hold up your hand. Show me what that, yeah, where is it? Bottom, okay. What might a kid in safety zone look like? Scared. Pure reaction mode, right? So if you have a kid in the bathtub and you go to put water on their hair and they totally freak out, they start screaming, that's a kid who has flipped their lid. It is no longer safe in this bathtub. Something just happened. So when you're like, he lost his mind, he actually did lose his mind a little bit. So we did ensure a supportive environment. We're setting up the environment for success. Then we go on to the second step, which is encourage positive behaviors. And it's the emotions one, right? So we're going to tap into, we're going to get those emotions involved by ensuring a supportive or encouraging positive behaviors. Then what do we have on? Our thinking cap.
Directives.
No, we've got our thinking cap on. And now we can do strategies like actively ignoring, choices, if, when, having those conversations about, I can tell that you're really frustrated. What are some of the things we can do? Only then can we do that. How do we feed into this cycle and prevent flipping our lid every single time? It's with this fourth step. That's the embracing unique strengths. By showing the child that you make really great decisions, or you're such a curious kid, I can tell you're so curious to climb all the way up there. But actually the rule here is we can only go to the second level. So you're embracing those unique strengths and finding other ways for them to be curious. But you're seeing it as a strength rather than a kid who's misbehaving. Maybe it's an overuse of a strength, but we don't want to squash it. So humor is a really great tool. It gets us through some really stressful, nerve-wracking times. So if you have a kid who's overusing humor, let's just help them use that strength in a better way, right? So what I want us to do is take these dots. I'm going to give our online people flop and drop. So if you're online, your hot button behavior is flop and drop when they don't want to transition. I want you guys to turn your hot buttons over, and I want you to write how this could actually be reframed into a personality positive, okay? And then also maybe another emerging strength that could be indicative of. So throwing a fit when it's time for lunch. Let's do this one as a group. What could be the positive emerging strength from Caroline, who throws a fit every day when she wants to go to lunch?
Leadership skills.
She has leadership skills. I like that. What else might Caroline have?
Cautious.
She's cautious. Yes, I like that too.
She has zest.
And she has zest. Okay, so online, you're in charge of flop and drop. And for those of you in the room, I'm going to hand these out to you. We'll have about 1 or 2 minutes to do this one. All right, so just to tell you a little bit, flop and drop turned into, is that what it's called, flop and drop? Determined, strong beliefs. We got some ignoring request was the hot button behavior. Perceptive, creative, curious, humorous, self-regulation. That is some self-regulation. Persistent, physically fit was for drop and floss. For refusing to brush teeth, we got very independent. So that could be some independence emerging there. For meltdown at drop-off, we got values close relationship with others, loyalty, cautious. Doesn't it feel better to be thinking about the child with those kind of personality traits? Not that we're allowing that meltdown every time, but instead we're just seeing maybe this is an overuse of something here. This child is extremely cautious, which is good. We want to be cautious as adults. How can we utilize that emerging strength in a way that speaks to that child, gets them back on our playing field, but at the same time, we're teaching them how to use it in an appropriate way. So that was connect the dots. Gonna review it real quick. The first thing we're gonna do is ensure a supportive environment. We're gonna encourage the positive behaviors. Then we start in with the emphasizing positive discipline. And we close this up by embracing their unique strengths and understanding what's unique and individual about each child. So we're not gonna flip our lids. We're gonna learn to connect the dots. KentuckyCCHC.org, we add stuff weekly. We're also gonna start a listserv option. The Early Childhood Mental Health Specialists of Kentucky are the ones who generate a lot of this content. We have a new one in the room today. Little did she know, this is part of your job. So we have lots of awesome resources coming in all the time. Specialists are saying, hey, I saw this out there, try this. We also collaborate with a lot of early Head Start and Head Start programs. So they're sending us fresh ideas that they see, and we post it all up there, give you guys access to all those goodies. Do you feel like that you can recognize the 4 big buckets of social emotional development? Yeah, good. Have you identified at least 2 new classroom tools you're going to use? Somebody shout out a classroom tool you're going to use, or a tool with families you serve. You like the star? Okay. She's going to take the star back. Anybody online? A tool you're going to use on Monday? Nothing. Come on online. There's 80 of you out there.
Keep the bucket full was one strategy.
All right, I like it.
Flip it was
Flip it. Okay.
3 participants said flip it.
All right.
Another participant said active ignore.
Active ignore.
4 said flip it, capital letters.
All right. Thank you. Any more in here? New tools you're going to take back? You like the cranky? I love cranky lotion. I do too. And you can actually make a big to-do about that. You could actually have somebody come in and it's like this magic cranky lotion. And I like this soap because it's different. It's called Can Do. It's designed for children so that they can operate the pumps and stuff. Plus it kind of looks different, which makes it seem a little more magical. Because kids will call you out. They'll be like, I have that lotion at home. Right. That's not magical. No more what? Bad responses. We're not going to add chaos to a situation that already has plenty of its own. No more bewildered, agitated, or default to pleading. We're going to make these meaningful, teachable moments. Caroline, you're safe. We're just going to lunch. Your blocks are fine. I love that you're in my classroom. You've got 2 choices, though. Here's our 2 choices. You did an awesome job. This is not an emergency. Everybody's safe. You can take 10 seconds. Did I tell you that yet? No? Dr. Phelan says you have 10 seconds to react to a situation so that you can go from reacting to responding. Take your full 10 seconds. If it's not an emergency, take a step back and figure out what you're going to do. Just take a moment to say, okay, I've got choices. I've got resources. I tried this a few times. It didn't work. Maybe I attack it from this side. Give yourself a moment to star and then enter the situation as the calm, stable one who's going to add some order to this moment. And that really helps you get down on the child's level and have a conversation. Seek help. Reach out before you feel like you've tried everything. Challenging behaviors can really pull on our own insecurities and some own issues maybe we have. We've got to realize that sometimes when it hits this hot button, it is too much for us to handle on our own. But it's different from another person's hot button. I can handle an insane amount of noise and nothing, I don't even notice that it's loud. You might be somebody that really needs it calm. Realize that if that's your trigger, I can't handle whining. It makes me crazy. But for somebody else, whining might not be a big deal. Know what your hot buttons are, and if you can't minimize that challenging behavior, seek somebody else who maybe it doesn't really get on their nerves too much, and maybe they can help create that roadmap for you, at least at the beginning. We're all going to say this as a group. Aha! Did you have an aha today? Did light bulbs go off? Aha! My job is to recognize difficult behavior as a child telling me he or she needs social and emotional skills to solve problems. It's about coaching, not controlling. Yay! Thank you guys. You all were so much fun. That was a good time. We've got like 6 or 7 minutes for questions. Caroline, get up here. And Caroline.
Questions? You guys have had great feedback.
Yeah.
Any other questions about challenging behaviors? Online as well?
Or any of the tools that you've seen, maybe how they actually look in the classroom.
Tell them about the pre and post.
So I think about 80 of you all total, a mixture between in here and online, completed the pre-survey. So I'll be emailing you. You'll get 2 evaluations. One will evaluate the training itself, and the second one will actually, we're trying to measure the content that you guys are getting. So did you learn something that you're going to actually change in your practice? So that post test will probably come from my email, and then the training evaluation will come from Walt's email. If you complete the post test and you'd already completed the pre, then you're eligible for prizes. So we have these wonderful Fill Your Bucket books. So if you complete the post test, you'll be entered into a drawing, and then I will mail you your own copy of Fill a Bucket and have you filled a bucket today. And if you haven't read these, they're so good. So please complete those tests. Anybody have a question? Do we have any? Not yet? Okay.
Friday afternoon. Thank you all for your attention.
Yeah. Thank you.